third best. Wilt, Michael, Harden. As far as pure scorers of the basketball, he has surpassed Elgin Baylor. He has surpassed Rick Barry. He has surpassed, I'll get people mad, Kobe Bryant and Kevin Durant and LeBron as just one set-alone skill, unstoppable scorer. I understand the rules. I get all of it. You have to adjust to a degree. Dude averaged 36 last year, Chris, and he might average 40 this year. 55 doesn't even surprise you. So I think he's now the third greatest scorer we've ever seen.
Well, I'm glad you didn't put him ahead of Michael, because I wouldn't either. I'm iffy on some of the other guys. And look, I love what Harden doing. Great respect for him. And I just love watching him, because I know how hard it is to just sit there and go one-on-one against the great athletes and still get your shot off whenever you want to, whether it's three, whether it's getting them to foul you or getting by him in the lane for a layup. But I feel like if LeBron James, who granted, does not have the jump shot, obviously, that James Harden is, but Kevin Durant does. And if guys like that had the usage rate
I don't know that Durant could survive it. And Kobe tried.
Well, does Harden survive it? Because he doesn't do it in the playoffs.
Kobe tried. Kobe did this after Shaq left, and he capped out at 35 and a half. So, I mean, to me,
I think Durant is unstoppable. And if he shot as much as James Harden did, I think he could score as much.
All right, on to Carmelo Anthony. He might play for the Blazers, but he's still got a New York state of mind. Melo said, quote, hopefully they'll hang number 7 in the rafters when asked about his jersey getting retired at MSG. Nick, should the Knicks retire Melo's jersey?
I love Melo. And I understand the sentiment, which is he's the best player they've had since Patrick Ewing, and it's not debatable. It's not close. It's not debatable. Allen Houston, sorry. Sprewell, sorry. Marcus Camby, sorry. Jerome James, sorry. It's Melo, but he only won one playoff series. He had one superb season the year he got one first place MVP vote when LeBron should have been unanimous. And Gary Washburn, thanks for that. But no, you can't retire his jersey. You can't. You got to have more success or spend your whole career there.
Right. I'm with Hall of Famer, first ballot in my book. Yeah. Denver definitely retired a jersey. Even if he hadn't gotten them to the conference finals, which he did, that's a big, winning at a high level. But even if they went out in the first round every year, he was a nugget. He brought that franchise back to relevance and, won at a decent level, getting to the playoffs every year. But I'm with you. The Knicks, Dick McGuire was not only a player there, but he was a coach later on. He's kind of a Mr. Nick along with a Red Holtzman. Everybody else won a championship, but for Patrick Ewing, who historically is a greater player than Melo in my book. And, like you said, was a Knick for his career. No.
Oh, I didn't even realize. Well, then you can't retire.
Now, if they go the route of many franchises and lower the left standard, and Bernard, maybe Allen Houston, Latrell Sprewell, they get theirs retired, then sure, throw Melo in there. But I'm with you.
You can't retire Melo's number till you retire Bernard King's. You just can't.
And Melo's tenure, as great as he is, it's viewed as a failure in New York. That's just a fact.
All right, on to the New England Patriots. Tom Brady's favorite target, Julian Edelman, missed practice yesterday with knee and shoulder injuries. New England is preparing to take on the Bengals on Sunday. Nick, how concerned should the Patriots be with Edelman's injury?
Against the Bengals, probably not, but moving forward, immensely. If Julian Edelman is not on the field, the opposing team gets an extra defender. Because right now, smart teams are doubling Edelman consistently because he's the only receiver who you worry about, especially on those option routes or those choice routes. If you have to replace him with whomever they would replace him with, you're not going to double that guy, and that other player can either play deep middle or it can come and run support. So I think it would be, right now, Julian Edelman is the second most important offensive weapon the New England Patriots have behind their quarterback. And so obviously this would be a major, major loss for them.
What you hope if you're New England is that, look, this is an opportunity for Mohamed Sanu and N'Keal Harry to step up. And I can't even, we talked the other day about they're getting adjusted to being in New England and, they're going to get better as the weeks go on. But they haven't. Their targets they've actually gone down. Their production has gone down over the weeks. So you hope this is a week, because I think Harry has great potential, and obviously the Patriots do too. But you need him or Sanu to step up and be what people have thought they were. If Edelman's out, were out the rest of the season, you're right. They'd be in deep, deep trouble.
All right, let's move on to the AFC West showdown coming this Sunday. Chiefs hosting the Denver Broncos. Patrick Mahomes dealing with that bruised throwing hand this week in practice, but says he's not worried about it. But there's no denying that KC should be worried about their stagnant offense of late. Mahomes knows that falls squarely on him.
It's just not execution at a high enough level, and it starts with me. I feel like there was times in the game where I could have maybe stepped up and bought another extra time or stayed in the pocket, and I think there's just times, if you look back to last year, where I drift back and don't do the same things that I do at the beginning of the year. And so I'm really focusing in this week on the fundamentals, like I've kind of been saying these last few weeks, but just trying to find a way to where I can help out the offensive line, because they're doing their job of kind of walling those guys around, and I can step up in the pocket and hit these guys and give them time to run routes.
Coming into the season, all we worried about was this Kansas City defense and whether they'd be able to step up in order for this team to make a Super Bowl run. But now we're after what we saw the last couple of weeks, we're asking if the Chiefs' offense needs to step it up to make a Super Bowl run.
Well, the Chiefs' offense needs to play better than it's played the last 3 weeks of football, but I do not think it is the concern. The concern is still the defense. Right. The defense has been, to their credit, really exceptional the last 3 weeks. Against the Chargers, when the offense had opportunity after opportunity to put the game away, didn't. The Chargers had 4 separate times with the football chance to go tie the game. They forced 1 turnover on downs, 2 interceptions, and a punt. Defense stepped up. The following week against Oakland, in a game where if the Chiefs win that game, they de facto win the AFC West. If they lose that game, they're tied for the AFC West and no longer have the tiebreaker. Oakland had 3 points 59 minutes into that game before a touchdown at the very, very end that didn't matter. And obviously against New England, the defense was spectacular. Lost the turnover battle, allowed a blocked punt, and the defense still held New England to 16 points and a couple goal line stands late. I still need to see more from the defense and see that repeated. The pass defense has been top 10 in the league. Run defense, you've been able to get after them. I have immense faith in this offense. Patrick's right. Since he came back from the knee injury, he was awesome against the Titans, and the 3 games other than that have been below his standard. The worst 3-game stretch of his career. And if I hadn't seen the Titans game, Broussard, I would be worried, well, it's because of the knee injury. He's just not the same guy this year because of the knee injury. But the first game after the knee injury, he was great. But what you still have is the single best quarterback in football, the single best tight end in football, and the single best deep threat in football. The offense is going to be fine. But yes, Jenna, they have to get back to being the Chiefs' offense in order to go on a Super Bowl run, because their path is not going to be beating teams 23-16 the way they did New England. It's going to be beating teams 31-24 the way they were early in the year.
I was going to say, I do think it's a concern because, like you said, they're going to have to outscore teams. I'm not as convinced as you are that this is the defense. This defense is going to play great in the playoffs and stop these teams.
I'm not either.
Okay,
yep.
So the offense has to get back. And this at times, and I picked Kansas City to make the Super Bowl, but at times this is looking like maybe a lost season for Pat Mahomes. I've compared him. I've said he's had a Jordan-esque start to his career, and I think his potential is the GOAT, potentially. He's got to win, obviously, and continue on. But this is almost looking like Michael Jordan's second year in the league when he got injured. And because Pat Mahomes, whether it was the knee, the ankle, you know, now the hand, in his last 3 games, Nick, he's had 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Mm-hmm. He would often get 3 touchdowns and a half. Yep. I mean, like easily.
In his second quarter, his favorite quarter.
Easily. He only had 1 interception in the first 8 games. Now he's had 2 in the last 3. Thrown for less than 200 yards in 2 of those last 3 games. So he does not look himself. I'm not down on him. I don't think teams have figured him out. Although I do think they've gotten a little more comfortable with what he does. And Andy Reid and himself, they'll have to go to the drawing board a little bit because teams are adjusting to him. But I think going forward, he's going to be great. But this year, he's going to have to play much better if they're going to have a chance to.
But isn't there a little relief that you don't have to send him out there and ask him for that offense to score 45 points a night because the defense, while they're not playing up to your standards or league standards, they're playing better.
Well, this is why
I think you don't need as much from Patrick Mahomes.
Well, this is why I think the Chiefs are underrated right now, because they're going to finish 12-4. Last year they were 12-4 with the defense playing its worst football of the season at the end of the year. Right now they're 12-4 with the defense playing its best football of the season. Big difference, though. Last year, 12-4 was good enough for the 1 seed. This year, 12-4 is probably going to be the 3 seed. But the offense needs to play better. I believe it will. The defense just needs to maintain how it's played the last few weeks. If that happens, the Chiefs will win the Super Bowl. Like if
the offense gets back
to what it was,
and the defense
just